We're here to idea everyone, to fire up your curiosity and connect you with the people and ideas that shape our world. Watch, listen, understand, connect, create. Let's move the human story forward together.
Hello and welcome to The Poetry of Science, a podcast which provides insight into new scientific research via the medium of poetry. I'm your host, Dr. Sam Illingworth, and each week I'll be introducing you to some of the latest scientific findings and sharing a selection of science-themed poetry. After all, we could all do with a little bit more poetry in our lives. In this episode, I'll be exploring new research which has investigated how climate change will affect decomposition. The grasslands bake beneath a fiery sun, searing tender shoots that once sprang fresh. Indian grass swells, covering the flesh of its fallen kin. Below, unseen armies mobilize and scatter, microbe, springtail, mite, churning, disturbing the earth. Decay's ancient gears now grind and stall, its cycle undone by the raging fever of a warming world. This poem is inspired by recent research published in the journal Functional Ecology, which has found that climate change alters plant-soil interactions, impacting decomposition rates. Climate change is having a profound effect on our environment, including on the composition of plants and the minute organisms that reside in the soil. These changes are crucial as they determine the rate at which plants break down and decay after their life cycle ends. This natural decay process is essential for replenishing nutrients in the soil and ensuring the health of ecosystems. However, as global temperatures rise and alter the balance of plants and soil organisms, the overall speed and efficiency of this decay process becomes unpredictable. There's a growing need to understand these changes as they have significant implications for the environment's future health and sustainability. In a study of a grassland subjected to higher temperatures for 15 years, researchers observed changes in plant and soil microorganisms that could both accelerate and slow down decomposition. Specifically, when there was more Indian grass, a plant that decays slowly, the decay process slowed down, but only in normal soils. Interestingly, in soils that have been warmed, the type of plant didn't change the speed of decomposition. This might be because the tiny organisms in warmed soils have adapted over time to handle tougher plant matter better. In situations where warming makes slower decaying plants more common, the soil's tiny organisms and the plants could balance each other out, preventing drastic changes in the decay process. This study highlights how climate change influences the interaction between plants and soil organisms, affecting the natural decay process in ecosystems. Now that you've heard the science, let me read the poem to you again. The grasslands bake beneath a fiery sun, searing tender shoots that once sprang fresh. Indian grass swells, covering the flesh of its fallen king. Below, unseen armies mobilize and scatter, microbe, springtail, mite, churning, disturbing the earth. Decay's ancient gears now grind and stall, its cycle undone by the raging fever of a warming world. In this section of the podcast, I'd like to share a poem written by another poet on a topic related to the science that has been discussed so far. In this episode, I'll be reading I Know That All Beneath the Moon Decays by William Drummond of Hawthornden. William Drummond of Hawthornden was a Scottish poet born in 1585 who was known for his early Jacobean-era sonnets, inspired by both classical works and contemporary events. Born into a wealthy and influential family, Drummond studied at the University of Edinburgh before touring the continent, which influenced his poetic style. Drummond was also a significant collector of manuscripts and is credited with preserving numerous important works. Beyond his poetic achievements, his friendships and rivalries with literary giants like Ben Jonson painted a vivid tapestry of 17th century literary intrigue, providing an invaluable window into the cultural heartbeat of Scotland's Renaissance. I Know That All Beneath the Moon Decays, by William Drummond of Hawthornden. I know that all beneath the moon decays, and what by mortals in this world is brought, in time's great period shall return to naught, that fair estates have fatal nights and days. I know how all the muses heavenly lays with toil of sprite which are so deadly bought, as idle sounds of few or none are naught, and that naught lighter is than airy praise. I know frail beauty like the purple flower, to which one morn oft birth and death affords, that love a jarring is of mind's accords, where sense and will in vassal reason's power. Know what I list, this all cannot me move, but that, O me, I both must write and love. Thank you for listening to the Poetry of Science.
Thank you very much for being with us for this episode of the ideaXme show. ideaXme is a global platform. Our mission is to move the human story forward by sharing knowledge of the future. You can find us on all major audio networks at www.radioideaXme.com, on YouTube and Vimeo. Please subscribe.